Yo, the internet's darkest corners, 7 by that boy Nick Crowley. On phone, I've been waiting for this shit, gang. You feel me? Some more spooky shit on phone, right? Even though it's the Christmas season now, but fuck it. But yeah, though, folks. The last vid was good. In the dark corner. Let's get into it though. Let's just jump right into it. Let's do it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Chat. Let's go. And don't get scared.
911 location of your emergency.
Now made on.
Okay, what's going on?
November 7th, 2014.
Alright, this is what's happened.
It's the 7th of November, 2014. 45-year-old Joseph Parker dials 911 at 2:45 in the morning to report an urgent incident that had taken place inside his home in Springville, Tennessee. An incident that had been solely his own doing.
I've been married 12 years. On the 4th, which would have been 2 nights ago at 4 a.m., I shot my wife in the temple of her head. I thought I killed her. And I put her in the freezer out in the garage.
It happened on him and his wife Samantha's 12th wedding anniversary, a day that should have been a celebration.
Yo, Jay, you know what I be thinking about sometimes too, folks? So all my people who do like 911 dispatches, gang, I'll be feeling bad for them sometimes, like the shit they probably be hearing on them fucking phones, because their job is to be calm. Like, they can't freak out no matter what they hear, how crazy, like, the motherfucker going on the phone. They have their job is to remain calm and get as much information out of you as possible so they can know where to dispatch, obviously, the police and shit, obviously. But it's like, I can imagine, like, the stories they done heard. Like, imagine picking up that phone. The motherfucker said, oh, yeah, I shot my wife. The way he's talking, too, like, put her in the like, yo, I could not do that.
But instead had
shit.
somehow ended in Joseph shooting Samantha at point-blank range before proceeding to put her body inside their garage freezer. An awful crime that Joseph was now confessing to a 911 operator. But this confession wasn't the real reason for his call, as Joseph likely would have been content without ever reporting his own crime, had it not been for the fact that hours prior, he noticed something unusual.
In the garage, when I checked on her tonight, and she's not dead. She's got a big hole in the temple of her.
Oh my fucking God. Oh.
Head. And to get her body moved around in there, I think I broke her wrist. You know, she was frozen from being in the thing. She's been in this thing 48 hours now.
According to Joseph, Samantha was still alive, despite having a large hole in her head and spending so long in their freezer that she was seemingly frozen solid. When he checked on her that morning, he realized that she wasn't actually dead and was even still conscious. The scenario Joseph was describing should have been impossible, with it being so outlandish that Joseph...
That's what I'm saying. Get shot and put in the... Like, okay, yeah, motherfuckers survive headshots, chat, so that's not... Oh my God, shocking to me. Motherfuckers survive headshots. Motherfuckers survive crazy ass shit, being shot in the head, all type of shit. See what I'm saying? But not only you shot her in the head, threw her in a freezer for 48 and she's still alive. That woman's a fucking fighter.
The need to tell the operator that this wasn't a prank.
This is no prank call. I need somebody to get out there and help her out. But I promise you this is a legit call, and I need somebody to get out there and help her, because I still love her. It's hard to believe that after that, you know, but I love her. I still love her. You know, I've loved her every day I've been married to her.
You love her, folks. I swear, folks. Sick motherfuckers. Psychopaths, folks. You love her, yeah, and you shot that bitch right in the fucking head. Not bitch, but you shot that woman right in the fucking head. Oh, I love... Ooh, like I said, man, it's just... sick motherfuckers in this world.
He was being serious, and all he wanted to do now was get Samantha help, as he claimed to still love her despite everything he had done. And help couldn't come quickly enough, as Joseph went into greater detail about just how bad Samantha's condition was, and how he was able to determine she was alive in the first place.
She's been frozen. For 2 days she's frozen solid. It's amazing she's still alive. She's getting called to move her jaw. She's in bad shape. She's a mess. She can't talk. I could get her to blink. Blink once means yes. Blink twice means no.
Despite being unable to speak or move, Samantha was still blinking and was
Yo, what the fuck? That is crazy. Yo, oh my God.
actually blinking in response to questions Joseph was asking her, once for yes and twice for no. And in a moment of what appears to be a regret for what he had done, he tried to make things better by giving her blankets and pouring water in her mouth.
Yes, she's still in the garage. I made her as comfortable as I can make her. She tries to drink a little water.
These responses led to a lengthy one-sided conversation that ended with Joseph vowing to get her help, which he was attempting to do now as he drove miles away, clearing the scene for authorities and paramedics to save her, while calling 911 and explaining the surreal scenario.
We don't have a history of domestic disputes. You know, we've never had to call the police or nothing. We just had a real bad night a couple of nights ago. And waving the gun around. Got myself in trouble.
The two had a happy and healthy marriage that, for whatever reason, had turned sour on their anniversary, in what he referred to as a real bad night, where something in Joseph had snapped. But despite admitting to the murder, he made it clear that he had no intention of going to prison. He just wanted to make sure that Samantha was saved.
Don't want to get arrested tonight and all that.
Telling the operator that they'll find her in the freezer, before ending the call shortly after.
You go to the garage, you can't yell for you. You can't yell. But you go to the garage, and that's where you'll see her once you get to the garage.
Sure enough, when authorities entered Joseph and Samantha's home and ventured into the garage, they would see Samantha's red hair flowing out from the side of the freezer, and inside, they would find Samantha herself, frozen completely solid with a gunshot wound to her head, in the same exact manner that Joseph had described. But other than this, it was clear that Joseph's retelling of events was flawed, to say the least, as Samantha hadn't just been placed inside the freezer, she had been jammed inside of it, as if he was desperate to get her to fit inside. So much so that he actually sawed off her left leg, along with making a series of other cuts to her body to get her to fit. And this wasn't even the most damning revelation, with the most important having to do with Samantha's condition. Just by looking at her, it was clear to the first responders that Samantha was dead, and had been dead for days, likely having been killed instantly by the gunshot.
So this nigga made that up? Whoa, what the fuck?
Meaning that the blinking Joseph had witnessed was entirely hallucinated. It never could have happened.
You know what? Makes sense.
And yet, that was his reality, and he fully believed it. Upon the discovery, Joseph quickly became the #1 most wanted man in Tennessee, and that same day, police would track down his vehicle as he appeared to have been trying to flee the state. But the officers got to him first, pulling him over and then surrounding his vehicle, drawing their guns and preparing for anything. Just as Joseph had said on the phone, he had no interest in going to jail, and that was something he was dead serious about. When officers finally got his car door opened, they would find Joseph Parker in the driver's seat, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
Good.
His death made it impossible to fully confirm why he had taken Samantha's life that night, but reports seem to indicate that he had recently lost his job, and the couple was experiencing financial hardships, putting their home in danger of foreclosure.
So your response is shooting my wife in the head? Okay.
With this perhaps being the reason the two were arguing on their anniversary. But reports also indicate that this murder didn't happen in the midst of the fight, as evidence points to Samantha having been asleep at the time she was shot, adding some uncertainty to how the situation truly did unfold. But one noteworthy discovery made after the fact was that at the time of his death, Joseph had drugs in his system, which could have been a factor in the murder itself, and it certainly was a factor in the hallucinations he was seeing afterwards, as he stood in his garage having full conversations with the frozen, mutilated corpse of the—
So this nigga, right, damn, that's creepy as fuck. So that nigga pretty much was having a conversation with just a corpse.
woman he had just killed, all the while truly believing it was all real, with this 911 call leaving a haunting impression on myself and the many others who have stumbled across it in the internet's darkest corners.
Now this out of Brandon where a husband is being incredible though. Like, really interesting. Hello, fuck yeah!
I mean, fucking intro. Ooh, I like that.
Clothes used to be a nightmare. You can
It
blame
is
Brian.
dark as coals. 7.
Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Well, considering that you're online watching this video right now, there's a good chance that you are. Your internet provider can see and log everything you do online, and not only are they watching what you mind safe, in today's matter, it can't wait documented on her VPN.com/Crowley.
I feel like
Jennifer Sheffield's life was largely encapsulated by the posts she made on social media. She worked hard studying in medical school with the hope of becoming a doctor, a journey that she documented on her growing TikTok page. But when she wasn't at school or at a hospital, her time was spent with her family. She had been married to a man named Brandon Sheffield for around a decade, and when they met, Brandon already had 2 children from a separate relationship. Though this didn't deter her in any way, and instead she took on the responsibility of helping to care for them, raising the children alongside Brandon as if they were her own for much of their lives, to the point where they seemingly started referring to her as their mother, a role that she thrived in, as she frequently posted pictures and videos alongside them. And the same was also true for her being a wife, as she loved to share her memories and moments with Brandon, cultivating this image of the perfect family and the perfect pair. But on social media, things are rarely ever as they seem. And on the 10th of December 2024, Jennifer would drop a bombshell on her followers.
So, about to be a newly single mom, and I am in the middle of a divorce. My husband is being incredible though, like really and truly, like we're working together, everything's great, we're splitting everything down the middle, like, you know, everything is good.
After approximately 10 years of marriage, Jennifer announced that she and Brandon were getting a divorce. There was no explanation for why, just the simple fact that they were separated and had already started the divorce process. Something that was reiterated by both of their Facebook relationship statuses, as they shifted to single around the same time. Despite the sad and even shocking news, it was clear that they were handling it better than most. There didn't appear to be any resentment between them, as Jennifer described Brandon as having been incredible throughout the process, supporting her in any way possible, which was obviously good not only for them, but for their children, who were top of mind for the pair.
It is a very civil divorce with our daughter in mind, and I really appreciate that. However, you know, I'm going to be a mom, single income right now, and he will be helping with her. He will be supporting her, you know. So essentially, like, I'm really thankful for that, and that I will not have to worry so much about supporting her.
It was apparent that there was some kind of custody split being discussed between them, which isn't really made fully clear in the video. But what was clear was how grateful Jennifer was for Brandon's support. But even with this help, this marked the first time in Jennifer's adult life that she was really on her own.
I've never done this before. I've never been on my own before. So yeah, if you just have any tips, like, I would really appreciate it, because like I'm a little scared right now.
It was uncharted territory and something that she was understandably nervous about. But despite her fears, Jennifer maintained an optimistic attitude. And thankfully at this point, the divorce itself was going about as well as it could be. They were both supportive of each other, they were both thinking of the children, and there seemed to be no bad blood between them. Though, as I said before, on social media, things are rarely as they seem.
Obviously.
We have more breaking news now. This out of Brandon, where a husband and wife are dead following a murder. According to Brandon police, the couple was found on Toulon Street this morning after family conducted a welfare check on 30-year-old Jennifer Sheffield.
18 days after posting this video, praising Brandon Sheffield for the incredible way he had been handling their divorce, both Jennifer and Brandon would be found dead inside their Mississippi home. That morning, family members arrived at the house to perform a welfare check, but noted signs of foul play outside, leading to them calling the police. Inside, officers discovered the pair lying next to each other. Each had a single gunshot wound to the head, with one thing being blatantly obvious. Brandon Sheffield had been the one to pull the trigger both times, shooting Jennifer before turning the gun on himself. What happened that night isn't fully understood, but the motive is fairly clear. This was likely the result of the divorce that Brandon had supposedly been handling so well, though obviously there seemed to be more going on behind the scenes. Perhaps the violence was spurred on by the holiday season and Brandon's realization that this would be their last as a married couple. Or perhaps he just wanted Jennifer all to himself, and if he couldn't have her, no one could. Since her murder, Jennifer's video has become a morbid piece of internet history, and just seeing how full of hope she was is heartbreaking in hindsight. And because of Brandon's actions, not only was Jennifer robbed of her future, but these children were robbed of their mother figure and their father figure all in one night. And making this even more devastating, some articles have claimed that one of these children was actually in the house during the shootings.
Oh my God.
And what Brandon did was nothing short of evil. But surprisingly, not everyone has seen it this way, as the discourse around this case has somehow led to people actually
Fucking Twitter.
Not everyone has seen it this way.
Men sacrifice their happiness for their families, and women sacrifice their families for their happiness. I ain't gonna lie, yo. This is why I fucking hate this app. Yo, bro, you know what I think? I think Twitter is a place where, like, dumbass, sped-ass, slow-ass, fucking inhumane motherfuckers be, because they know they can't say shit like this in real life, so they express this shit through the internet. Because obviously, you can say whatever the fuck you want on the fucking internet, because you can't put a fucking face to those fucking words. See what I'm saying? And motherfuckers ain't gonna get with your ass in real life. I mean, it depends. But just go time, get wild fucking.
As the discourse around this case has somehow led to people actually sympathizing with it.
The internet has ruined. Chat, and yes, these are real humans typing this, by the way. Yes, these are real fucking humans. They are pretty much, you are pretty much condoning him murdering his fucking wife. Okay.
And even blaming Jennifer for her own murder.
She tries not to smile at Tara.
Sadly, this is just a fraction of the...
See how someone about to be newly, someone like, man, already trying to put her... I hate niggas.
Disrespect that Jennifer has faced since her death, as there have been numerous other online controversies surrounding her and her family. Though for the sake of this video, I don't want these to distract from the very real story and the very real victim at its core. A young woman who will now never get to experience the future that she was so hopeful for.
I had this feeling this morning for some reason to tell you that it's gonna be okay. You still have a purpose. You've got to keep pushing. You still have a heartbeat. And that means that you've got to keep going.
Damn, man. Long live Shorty, man. Long live Jennifer.
It was unlike anything she had posted before. Throughout 31-year-old Rania Ibrahim's Facebook page, friends, family, and followers have been accustomed to seeing posts of her children, various religious texts, and other media from her day-to-day life. But on June 14th, 2017, Rania would begin her very first live stream. And it was clear from the start that something had gone terribly wrong.
What happened?
Don't open the front door. Okay, don't open the front door. You're going to bring the smoke in. Okay. You're not going to be able to breathe. Your children scared maybe someone outside. They're in the other flat. Are you sure? They've gone into the other flat.
The footage is from Rania's perspective, as she and another woman discuss what lies behind the front door of the apartment unit they were in. The woman, believed to be 33-year-old Isra Ibrahim, told her not to open the door as it would let the smoke in, while Rania insisted that people might still be out there and in danger, eventually leading to her peeking outside, and in turn giving us a glimpse inside their nightmare situation.
There's too much smoke here. Okay, I'm not opening it. Allah, la ilaha illallah, في حريق في العمارة, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم, يا الله.
The door opens for just a split second, revealing a thick layer of black smoke, the loud ringing of fire alarms, and someone pounding on a door. Rania eventually calls out to whoever was knocking outside, beckoning them towards her.
Hello, come here. Come here, hello. Hello. Come. Quick.
To which 57-year-old Gary Maunders emerges from the smog, completely covered in ash. It was a dramatic scene, and one that you can start to piece together based on the footage alone.
Okay,
as it was clear that there was a fire raging inside that apartment complex, and the entire floor Rania was filming on had been filled with smoke. Smoke that essentially trapped her and a few others inside this flat. Given the sheer amount of smoke in that hallway, it was obvious why the others in the room insisted on keeping that door closed. But Rania continued to hit back on this, as she didn't want anyone to be stuck out there alone.
You got a woman.
Because the smoke is coming.
But the people outside. Yeah, let them. Hello.
Close the door.
Hello. Okay, I'm going out. Hello. Oh my gosh, I closed it.
Before eventually conceding and closing the door for good. It was obvious that the situation was dire, but just how dire wasn't revealed until Rania made her way over to the window.
Okay, I'm not going. Okay. العمارة ولعت من تحت. لا إله إلا الله.
Oh, gee fucking jeez. Gee fucking jeez. Oh my fucking god.
They were 23 stories in the air, in the highest floor of the Grenfell Tower, located in North Kensington, London, England, where Rania and hundreds of others lived. And now, somewhere in that high-rise, was a growing fire.
العمارة كلها ولعت من فوق لتحت. احنا في آخر دور هو اللي لسه ما ولعش. يا ربنا يستر إن شاء الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم.
As she looks out the window, Rania tells her viewers that she believes the fire had started from the bottom of the structure and was quickly working its way up to them, with it now being just one floor below them. But officially, this wasn't the story that Rania and the others in the room were being told, as each time they would dial 999, the operators would tell them that the fire was generally contained and leave them with one clear instruction: stay put. This was the name of a nationwide rescue policy for all high-rise fires that stated that people should stay in their flats and wait for rescue as opposed to trying to escape on their own, as buildings like these were made from thick concrete and should hypothetically keep fires relatively contained in the flat that they started in for an estimated time period of around 2 hours. And considering that this fire had started roughly 1 hour before Rania's stream, they should have been relatively safe until rescue crews got to them. And when looking outside, the fire wasn't even noticeable, meaning it was possible it was still contained and had simply been producing a lot of smoke. But that belief was far too optimistic for reality.
1 hour before this.
Fire brigade.
Yeah, hello, hi. In the fire, flat 16 Greenfield Tower.
Sorry, a fire where?
Flat 16 Greenfield Tower. It's the 4th floor.
Right, okay.
Quick.
They're on the
It's
way
burning.
already.
God.
Approximately 1 hour earlier, on the 4th floor of the tower, a man called 911 to report that his freezer had caught fire. It was an incident that had happened through no fault of his own, and due to his quick phone call, firefighters would arrive on the scene within minutes, one of whom was wearing a camera that showed that they were able to handle the blaze in a relatively efficient manner.
Okay.
With the camera using thermal imaging and heat sensors to assure that the fire was fully out. The camera scans around, showing a few items strewn about that were still at relatively high temperatures. But other than that, the room was completely clear, and it seemed as though the fire was out for good, until the camera panned to the window. Revealing scorching hot droplets of debris falling from the outside like molten rain. The fire had spread above them and was now burning up the side of the building in a manner that was completely unprecedented and defied any sort of logic based on the firefighters' knowledge of the scene. And by the time they even realized what was happening, things were already out of hand.
Oh my fucking god! Damn! Oh, it's fucking over with. It's over with. Oh my fucking god.
The fire was huge, and within just that first hour, nearly the entire building was engulfed in flames. And Rania was now trapped on the tallest floor, opposite to where the fire was raging. And she wasn't alone. Not only were there over 100 people left in the building at this time, but 2 of them were Rania's own children. 4-year-old Fethia and 3-year-old Tanya, who were stuck in the same flat as their mother and several others. With desperation mounting, some of the others called out the window for help.
We're stuck on the 23rd floor! Hello! مكان في لندن فين؟ There's too many people stuck upstairs!
Until the stream went dark roughly 6 minutes later.
Close these windows because the smoke can go to the...
Despite things looking grim for the group on the 23rd floor, there was still some optimism about their rescue, as even 30 minutes after the stream had ended, those in the group were told once again by 999 operators to stay put, with the operator even telling them that the fire was contained to the 4th floor, which clearly wasn't the case. Rania's sister later spoke to the media about a phone call that they had shared around the same time, where she begged Rania to try and leave, recalling, "She did not. She respected and trusted and believed that they are coming to rescue them. And by this point, there were hundreds of rescuers on the scene, along with multiple helicopters flying around them, which only further kept their faith alive. But tragically, this was all a cruel facade. Internally, fire crews were told not to go past the 12th floor shortly after Ranya's stream ended. It was just too dangerous. And as for the helicopters,
so they pretty much just said,
well, those trapped inside would have had no idea that those were actually just police helicopters, merely used for surveillance. They weren't even equipped for rescue, nor were they ever considered.
So they pretty much just let these people die?
To be used for that, as getting too close would have blown more air on the fire and made the blaze even worse, meaning that those helicopters offered them no chance at survival. They were entirely on their own, leading to authorities finally telling them to try and escape by themselves. But by this point, there was no point. This was 2 hours after the fire had started, and an hour after Ranya's stream. The fire had completely taken over the structure, and inside there was only one single stairway. A stairway that was now impossible to safely traverse for anyone on the higher floors. Even attempting it would have been a death sentence. The orders for them to shelter in place had cost them valuable time, and in turn, any chance at leaving while they could. And it was all for a rescue that was now impossible, leaving them completely trapped. Rania, Fethia, Hanya, and everyone else shown in this livestream would perish in what we now know today as the Grenfell Tower Fire, a fire that claimed the lives of 72 people, and one of the worst fire tragedies in Europe's history. And while we've covered many large-scale tragedies on this channel before, few have been more preventable than this one. The Grenfell Tower was built back in 1974, and around the 2010s, its concrete exterior was beginning to look outdated in an area that was experiencing a wave of modernization. The neighborhood was becoming trendier and wealthier, and the tower was becoming an eyesore to some. And so the decision was made by the Kensington and Chelsea Tenant Management Organization, along with the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, to refurbish the exterior by adding new siding known as cladding to give it a more modern appeal. It was purely aesthetic, but its effects were horrific. The cladding was created by a company called Arconic, which had tested it numerous times to see how it held up to fire, and the results were awful. Their ACM cladding received a grading of F, with it being apparent that it was extremely flammable, with some likening it to gasoline due to how quickly it would erupt into flames, while also producing 3 times the amount of smoke as usual fires. But despite having these test scores and even acknowledging their failure in multiple emails sent throughout the company, notoriously following up their F score with the line, "Oops," they not only refused to fix the problem, but they also kept selling it, with one of their clients being the group working on the Grenfell Tower refurbishment. And it wasn't even a secret either. Those in charge of the project wanted it done as cheaply as possible, and this ACM cladding was as cheap as it got, and so they chose it despite knowing the fire risk. And worst of all, they had the opportunity to buy a version of this product that was actually flame retardant, but they opted for the cheaper, more dangerous product, which in the end only saved them about £5,000, or roughly $6,500 USD. Arconic knowingly sold this flammable product. The companies working on the Grenfell Tower refurbishment knowingly bought the flammable product, and in the end, it all resulted in a disaster that they all should have seen coming. And when you couple this with the flawed orders to shelter in place, and the fact that there was only one stairwell, it was a recipe for disaster. This was always going to happen. This was a failure on so many levels for so many parties, and it all traces back to greed and the value of money over the lives of innocent people like Rania and her children. Despite the fire starting 8 years ago, justice has yet to be served, as investigations are still ongoing to this day, leading to an agonizing wait for all those who lost loved ones in the blaze, with the trials themselves not expected to start for another full year.
Long live all those people, man. They didn't fucking deserve that shit. Yeah, that fucking company better be fucking out of business. Estimated there are still thousands of residents buildings in the UK war with Flint. Don't hang up. Oh, man.
It was the usual start to the day for Rhoda McFarland. The 42-year-old manager of the Lane Bryant store in Tinley Park, Illinois, was no stranger to big sales.
It's the Have It All sale at Lane Bryant.
Lane Bryant had a habit of launching monthly clearance events, sending out flyers and airing commercials in the days and weeks before to let all of their customers know. And this day, February 2nd, 2008, was yet another one of these sales. She knew it would be a busy day, and potentially a stressful one for one of her employees, as that morning only one worker was scheduled to open the store, something that Rhoda disagreed with, leading to her coming in to help, even though she had the day off. But like I said, this was a typical morning for her, as this was just the kind of person she was, always willing and wanting to help others. And as she clocked in for work that morning at 10 a.m., she and her coworker braced for a potential rush of excited shoppers. The rush, however, wasn't as dramatic as they may have expected, and in the first 15 minutes or so of opening, only 5 people had entered the store, 4 of which were female shoppers looking for some deals, while the 5th was a delivery man who walked in holding a stack of papers. The man approached them and made casual conversation, but after a few minutes had passed, he kind of just lingered around, never actually delivering anything, which Rhoda found strange, especially considering that it was Saturday, a day that they typically didn't receive packages. Growing more and more suspicious by the minute, Rhoda quietly placed a call to a nearby Lane Bryant store, who confirmed to her that there was in fact nothing scheduled to be dropped off that day.
Jeez.
But before she could even process this information, an incident was already unfolding around her. Out of nowhere, the delivery man pulled out a pistol and pointed it at the women, yelling at them to hand over the money from the register, before proceeding to round up Rhoda, her employee, and the 4 women shopping, demanding that they all give up their cash and jewelry. After he was satisfied with the collection, he forced the women to the back of the store, where one by one he bound them with duct tape, placing them each face down on the floor, and putting underwear over their heads to obstruct their view. In the minutes following, he would venture back out into the store where 2 other women had entered, and they too were then robbed and then forced into the back room, where they were eventually subdued, but not before he struck one of them in the face with his pistol, nearly knocking her unconscious. It appeared to be a fairly high-level robbery, but after he now had them all in the back room, the whole operation seemed to grind to a halt. It was like he didn't know what to do next, as he started pacing the room and slowly losing his cool. The minutes ticked on, and the more time that passed, the more agitated he became. It was clear that the pressure was getting to him, and sensing his disorganization, Rhoda seized the opportunity, quietly slipping her hand free, allowing her to call 911 through her Bluetooth headset.
911 emergency. We're at.
Despite the man being in the room with her and the others, Rhoda managed to alert authorities to her exact location, telling them to hurry and making it clear that the situation was urgent. In the background, you can also hear the robber himself, whose disheveled state is apparent as he outwardly states, the operator was on it, quickly dialing dispatch and telling Rhoda not to hang up.
Stay on the line. Let me get you to Tinley Park. Don't hang up.
Though within just a split second, the call disconnected. By some stroke of good fortune, there was actually an officer in that shopping center only about 100 feet away, and from the time that Rhoda made that call, the officer managed to arrive on the scene within just a few minutes. He rushed inside the store, but inside he found nothing, until he made his way over to that back room. Inside, he would find them. 6 women with underwear over their heads, lying on the floor, each one having been shot execution style.
I knew it.
Just seconds after Rhoda's 911 call. It was a mass murder, but in the midst of this awful scene, one thing was missing: the killer himself. And so authorities flooded the area, scanning and searching all over for the gunman, who was described as a black man with a husky build and a single braid that fell to his right cheek that ended in green beads. And the reason they knew exactly what he looked like wasn't because of security footage, as at the time the store didn't even have any CCTV cameras, but instead, it was because one of the women actually survived.
What?
When the man began his executions, he moved his way over to the employee that Rhoda came in to help, and when he fired his gun, she moved at just the right moment, causing the bullet to graze her neck, to which she proceeded to then play dead so that the man wouldn't notice. And thankfully, he didn't. Her testimony is the reason why we know exactly what this man looks like, and why we know what those moments were like before the shooting. But despite this, after doing a thorough search of the area, even utilizing a helicopter, there was no trace of the killer. CCTV footage from a neighboring store showed that just before Rhoda made that call to 911, 2 large SUVs pulled up in front of the building right after the shooting likely occurred. It's believed that both of these SUVs were involved in some way, with one potentially being a lookout and the other likely being the getaway car, explaining how he would have gotten away so quickly. Not to mention that the store was located right near the entrance of an interstate, which could have taken them out of the state extremely quickly. That was 18 years ago, and today neither the shooter nor the drivers have ever been identified,
Wow.
marking a rare instance in which a mass shooting in America went unsolved, leaving us with so many unanswered questions to this day, with one of the biggest
And that nigga
being
just
the
casually
motive.
walking around like right now.
Police have labeled this as a robbery
Man,
gone
for a
wrong,
while.
which does seem to be the case. But why Lane Bryant? And why come in the morning when there was next to no cash in the register? I mean, in total, the killer only made off with about $200, and that's including the cash he stole from the women. One of the main theories today is that the killer had planned on taking customers hostage as they entered the store, but perhaps he grew frustrated at the lack of customers that day, until he eventually noticed that Rhoda was making a 911 call, which caused him to panic and start shooting. But what always gets me about this is that he never covered his face at any point, which makes me wonder if he was planning on killing these women all along. Though if that's true, how could this ever have been worth it? Due to just how bizarre this whole situation is, some have posed other theories, like perhaps this was someone with a drug addiction who was looking for quick cash to get his next fix, perhaps explaining his rapidly deteriorating behavior, or even that the suspect was actually a woman who never got caught because police were primarily looking for a male. But it's impossible to know for sure at the moment, and might not ever be known, as despite having survivor testimony, an exact description of this man's face and body, his voice, and even his DNA, which was discovered under one of the victim's fingernails, we still have no idea who this man is, or where he went.
Oh damn. That definitely was a fucking dark video. God damn. You watch some fucking Daily Dose after that shit. God damn. How you vid though, fo? I wanna live all those people, man. God damn, fo. It's funny, but they'll catch niggas from old dumb shit, but they can't. I don't even get me started. WVid, man. WVid.